Finally found this, the right side of this buck. This is all about building history. Coming down this trail and I literally stepped on this antler. Really cool buck. We've got some history with this deer. We've known him the last 2 years, so I'm gonna keep scouring through this bedding area and hopefully find the match.
Is it him?
Oh yeah.
That
That is him.
is who we came here for. Look at that thing.
So yeah, let's try to go find another one. Hell yeah.
That is the buck we've been looking for. Sweet.
It is September 28th and it's 62 degrees right now. Super fall weather and I love it. I'm buzzing out as fast as I can to the home farm. It's a northeast wind tonight and it's perfect to do a little scouting from afar with the spotter, possibly start to formulate a game plan on one of our shooters. Opening day is Saturday. I am freaking pumped. I cannot believe it. Whitetail season is a year-round thing for me. It's a year-round thing for us. When season ends, it seems like it's never gonna be here again. And then you blink and all of a sudden it's September 28th. The season's gonna be, well, it's gonna be a lot different, especially for me. My wife and I, as I've mentioned before, are expecting our first baby, our little girl, October 7th, which is not this this upcoming Friday, but next Friday is when she's due. I may not be able to spend quite as much time in the woods this fall as I'm used to, but everything will work out just fine. Hopefully I'm not too late here this evening and I can maybe lay eyes on one of our potential shooter bucks on this property. I'm freaking pumped.
It's official. October 1, 2022. We're good to go. We can officially say we're hunting now. We just got this set hung like not even an hour ago. I came to scout the other night, and one of our top targets on this property this year, a buck we call Reno, was out. It was about 7 p.m. He was out feeding in this bean field, and he came out probably, I don't know, 150 yards from here. So we think he's probably bedding somewhere within a couple hundred yards of us. So with this east wind that we've got, we don't have to stand on this side of this field. So we came over here, got a double set hung, had to do a lot of cutting, wasn't ideal. With any luck, one of our shooters hopefully is bedded somewhat close, and we'll get up early and come to feed in this bean field. It's opening day, and couldn't be happier to be back in a tree stand. Since last October, and you can definitely tell, not the safest setup, but I am strapped in and I'm probably not even 10 foot off the ground. This entire area that I'm overlooking to the east of me is a big giant sanctuary. It's thick, nasty. These deer just bed all throughout it. Really the whole reason I'm here is just to observe, seeing if I can get a bead on one of our target bucks. My hope is I can see them stand up out of their bed and then begin to work either north towards where Jonathan's sitting overlooking that standing bean field, or we've got standing corn to the south. I did check see, 1, 2, 3 cameras. So I've now checked every camera on the property between yesterday and today. Reno was everywhere. He was on 4 or 5 of the cameras. We've got a couple really nice 3-year-olds over here too that, honestly, we gotta make some room for. We gotta start knocking some of these target bucks, some of these older big mature bucks off, and make some room for a couple of these up-and-comers. Because if we don't, they're not gonna stick around. Hopefully we can learn something. Exactly what I came here for. We're not out of the game yet. I could last see him over here, moving kind of towards where Jonathan is sitting up here. He was moving pretty slow, so I don't know if he'll make it out there. And if he does, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to move toward where Jonathan's sitting, but it's possible. Oh, I love this so much. It's just another piece to the puzzle. I had an idea that he was probably bedding somewhere in this vicinity. It's just a matter of playing the wind and bouncing around according to the wind direction. Hopefully we can get on him here this early season.
Well, Jonathan got a shot at Reno. He got the shot on film. We're not sure exactly where he hit. And unfortunately, his lighted knock went out, so you can't, you know, definitively tell where the arrow hits. It looks like it's far back, but if it ends up being where we think it looks like on camera, then it's definitely a lethal hit. Deer's gonna die, like no question about it. And you just gotta give him some time. And so we're just hoping that where we suspect the arrow of hitting is in fact where it did hit, and where he beds down either as his last bed or his last bed is gonna be not too far from where we last saw him tonight. So unfortunately, I have to work in the morning, so I can't go with Jonathan to try to look for him. Tomorrow's a day that I have to be there, so I can't call in. We're headed to the house right now. We're gonna pop the SD card out of the camera into my computer and try to go frame by frame, get as good a slow motion as we can, and try to see where this arrow impacted. Hopefully we can figure something out reviewing this footage, do everything we can to recover this deer.
It's the morning of October the 3rd. On my way out to look for Reno. He came out last night and gave me a perfect broadside shot. Watched back the video last night, how I was positioned in the tree stand. I torqued my bow a little bit. I don't know what else would have happened. I felt I was comfortable with everything. The only thing I can think of is the way I was positioned. I had to kind of hunker down a little bit in the stand. I checked everything before I released the arrow, you know, made sure everything was level, but the shot was back. He went about 60 yards and bedded down, and I'm hoping that he's bedded right there. If not there, not far from there, and we can find him right there in his bed. So I'm going to go in there and hopefully find a dead buck right there. It's about 10:30 now. Found some good blood initially at the shot site. Followed it through that bean field about 150 yards. It was pretty easy to follow. I found where he bedded in the bean field, and then I found another bed about 200 yards south of there in the CRP. So there was some good blood in the bed, the second bed. And then after that, it just got lighter and lighter as I followed. I followed the trail he was on into a big ditch that runs east and west through the property. A lot of deer bed in there, and I took that trail in there and found nothing, no blood. The blood just stopped about 50 yards from that ditch, and I can't find any more. I looked and looked, hands and knees. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. There's not much more I can do besides grid search the property, and honestly, I don't think he's dead. I think it was a straight muscle hit. Hit him in the back leg. Jordan and I watched the footage probably 100 times last night. Slow motion, super slow motion. Didn't have the nocturnal on, unfortunately, which was stupid. And we came to the conclusion that I shot him in the rear leg. Was hoping for a femoral artery hit. Obviously didn't get that because he would have expired pretty quick. Saw him bed down in the bean field last night, about 60 yards from where I hit him initially. He obviously got up from there. I found the bed this morning and followed it another, I don't know, probably 300 yards. And finally the blood just stopped. Really don't know what else to do besides grid search, like I said. But you're grid searching a muscle hit deer. I'm hoping and praying that he makes a good recovery, and we can hunt him, continue to hunt him this year. So it's pretty sickening. It's gonna be for a few days here until I know for sure that he's still alive. Hopefully he walks past one of the cameras and we can get a picture of him, just to have that peace of mind that he's still alive, because that's the last thing I want is for any deer, but especially this deer, you know, any deer that I cause harm to myself. That's the last thing I want is for him to die without me finding him. So Might take some days off from the bow. I think I'll just come out with Jordan and get behind the camera. And this year's not been my year, and deer season just started. It's the third day of the season today, so we have a lot of time left. But I think I'll take a few days and just get my mind right and have some more observation sets and try to get an eyeball on him. It sucks. I messed this one up pretty good, so 100% my fault, and feel terrible. So
I came out this morning, looked for Reno, the buck I shot last night. I'm still sick about it. Just out here tonight in an observation stand. Jordan actually sat this stand last night, and he's the one who initially saw Reno stand up out of his bed about 150 yards to the northeast of me, and he eventually made his way out to the bean field where I shot him. He likes to move through this goldenrod field here, and that ditch where I walked to this morning is right here, about 30 yards to my south. Jordan is in a stand about 200 yards to the south, so hopefully one of us can get an eye on him to prove that he is still alive. I'm hoping he is. I'm obviously not for sure if he is, but we can't see him sitting at home, so we'll see.
The stand we went to last night, we've got to go in a little bottom in through a creek to pop up to that stand. When we got down in that bottom, we both smelled something a little unsettling, like something was dead. Kind of had us concerned, about Reno. We haven't seen him, but we haven't got pictures of him. It's only been, today is 4 days since Jonathan hit him, but it just kind of, had us a little uneasy, had us a little concerned. Could be anything, could be a raccoon or a possum or who knows what. But since it's warm and it's windy, I'm gonna slip in to a couple of these creeks and ditches as quiet as I can and just work them back to where we had that smell hit us last night when we were going to that stand. Hopefully I don't find anything, and hopefully he's alive and well somewhere. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna go do for a little bit here. Try not to show that as much as I can. That's him. That's Reno.
Hello?
Yeah, he's dead right here, man.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Damn it. Where? Like, right where?
In the creek. He's laying here in the creek.
Where you were walking last night?
Yep. If I'd have gone 20 more yards, man, I'd have seen him.
I'm sorry, dude.
Just come on down here when you can.
I'll be there here shortly.
All right, bye. Last night, when we were leaving after we smelled that smell, I literally walked and stopped right here and was peeking up over here with my eyes. We got out a little early because the wind was a little funky in the stand that we were in. All I had to do was come around this bend right here. And he's laying right there, half eaten. You hate stuff like this happens, but sometimes it you make a bad hit and you do everything you can to recover the deer, and we felt like the deer was going to live. He's laying right here in the creek. I don't know what else to say. It's pretty disheartening. I know Jonathan's disgusted by it. Let's walk up to him real quick. I'm just sitting here waiting on Jonathan now. I think he's about here. Man, this is not how we wanted to end the story on this deer. We knew this deer for years. We had a lot of history with him. Had sheds from him for the last 3 years. It's unfortunate, but there's nothing you can do about it now. I mean, at least we can say we recovered the animal. We really didn't think the deer was going to die. Obviously, it either hit an artery or the arrow got up into the cavity or something. Somehow it killed the deer. And unfortunately, we won't be able to tell now because his entire back half has been, eaten on. So we won't be able to really pick it apart and see where that arrow struck and how he died. On camera, it didn't look like it hit anything vital. It didn't look like it hit any arteries. And the blood trail looked to Jonathan. We assessed it. We thought it was a meat hit or a muscle hit, because we thought if he would have hit the femoral, the deer would have died, in a few minutes or even less than that. And he didn't. And we're a long ways away from where Jonathan shot him. So he did make it quite a ways back in here. And I don't know, like I said, if it was just loss of blood or the arrow getting up into the cavity somehow through his leg that did it. But here he lays. The unfortunate part is that we can't get any meat from him or anything like that. But at least we're able to recover him and learn from it and try to be better. Yeah.
4 days later, after I put a terrible shot on this buck, I came out the next day and looked for him for 4 or 5 hours. Eventually lost blood, a couple 100 yards from here. We thought that it was a muscle hit. We watched it. Slow motion, super slow motion. And looking at the blood trail, it seemed like no arteries, no cavity, wound, anything like that. We thought he was gonna make a recovery. Should have probably walked this creek that morning just to kind of check it out. And this was the way that the blood trail was kind of heading. I mean, I lost it before we got to that ditch, so didn't really know. I talked to Jordan on the phone and basically figured that I'd just be grid searching for a muscle-head deer that was probably going to survive. Felt terrible. I'm glad you found him. Never ever wanted to end this way. I've known him since he was 1.5 years. It's, especially on deer like this, it sucks for any deer, any animal we shoot, but especially here on the home farm. Bucks like this, we watch them literally grow up from 1.5 years, 2.5 years old, and to have it end like this, it just sucks.